Whispers from the Wild, a collection of Appalachian tales. This compilation weaves together eerie encounters and unexplained phenomena along the Appalachian landscape, offering 4 hours of chilling stories. Dive into debates on its pronunciation, Appalachian or Appalachian, while exploring the region's mysteries. A river road encounter. A few summers ago in Virginia's New River Valley, I was driving home after a gathering, having dropped my brother off at his car. Opting for the scenic river road through the Appalachian foothills, my home for 25 years, I am familiar with local wildlife, including a rare black mountain lion sighting years back. That night, under a starlit, moonless sky, trailer lights danced on the water as I tuned into 94.9 radio, hand out the window. Halfway along, unease crept in. Pulling my hand in, a thick fog rolled in, forcing me to slow down. Emerging from the mist, a large black shape halted me, a dog, German shepherd-sized, its fur blending with the night. A haunting presence. Initially unconcerned, I honked, expecting it to move. It slipped into the brush near the river, leaving me mildly spooked, but rationalizing it as a stray. As I passed, a prickle suggested it watched me, which I dismissed. Reaching the tunnel's end, where a horn blast warns of oncoming traffic, I flicked my high beams. There it stood again. Skidding to a stop, I silenced the radio, tension thick. Annoyed, I reached for the horn, but it turned, revealing glowing red eyes and a protruding canine. Dread rooted me. A call from my brother broke the spell. He needed an alibi. Distracted, I noticed the creature closer, unmoved. Shifting to reverse, I prepared to flee, but it tilted its head curiously. After 20 tense minutes, it vanished into the thicket. I sped home, fog and potholes be damned, arriving at 2 a.m. Research hinted at a hellhound, 3 sightings supposedly fatal. 6 years on, no third encounter, but the memory lingers. Sharing eases the weight. Perhaps someone can explain its twice-nightly appearance. A ranger's strange week. As a former forest ranger near Blacksburg, Virginia, along the Appalachian Range, I handled odd calls over 4 years, but 1 week stands out. Warning: it includes mild animal violence. On a Tuesday, sipping coffee at the ranger post, a young couple burst in ash-covered, clothes torn, begging help. Baffled they didn't call, my partner Trevor and I patched their wounds as the woman, with a crisp British accent, claimed a walking tree attacked them on a hike. I chuckled. Trevor suggested a bramble mishap. Their cuts, animal-like but unmarked by claws, puzzled me. We filed a vague report, escorting them back to their campsite. A communal circle, oddly silent campers avoided us, unlike the usual friendliness. Unexplained deaths. Wednesday, an older man with a raspy voice reported dead animals, rabbits, squirrels, birds, a coyote around his RV fire pit, coated in gray soot, uninjured. Touching the coyote left ash on my fingers. We evacuated the site, a hippie opting to leave, citing bad vibes. Thursday, trails were quiet, but a charcoal-like acidic smell led me to a smoldering foot-wide wooden ball on a path, emitting silver smog. Kicking it into shade stopped the smoke. Trevor and I returned with shovels to bury it, but it vanished, leaving a faint tinge. Friday, a family reported their Alaskan Malamute Rufus bolting into the woods, returning limping, coat grayed. A crashing sound, and a tall, thin shape with crackling steps emerged, possibly what he chased. We hurried back, the dog cheerful despite injury, the father noting a bonfire smell, a terrifying figure. Saturday, my last shift, exhausted, I skipped rounds but went anyway. In the clearing, 7 larger smoldering wooden balls circled the fire pit. Nudging them into shade stopped the smoke. Turning, I froze a 9 to 10 foot black wooden figure, branch-like, blended with trees. Featureless, it crackled toward me, swaying, then passed, repositioning the balls. I fled to the outpost, locking up and leaving, ignoring Superior's calls. Terminated, I avoid forests, suspecting this tree man, echoing a Dutch tale of a branch-limbed entity chasing naughty kids, caused the week's oddities. I'm grateful it spared me. Lights in the sky. An anonymous hiker, a petite 20-something from rural south-central Virginia, grew up amid dense woods, mastering outdoor life. During the 2010-20 pandemic, she solo hiked the Appalachian Trail's western stretch, using a navigation app, pepper spray, knife, and updates to loved ones. In mid-June, she summited Priest Mountain, starting at 1 p.m., reaching the shelter by 5:36 p.m., despite a sore knee. After an uneventful hike past waterfalls and wildlife, she set up her hammock sand tarp for a clear, warm night, eating and texting a friend until 10 p.m. A headlamp approached a retired cop, trail named G, separated from his group. Harmless, he camped opposite. Unexplained phenomena. At 10:45 p.m., her signal flickered LTE to no service until 4 a.m. Then, stars swiveled, casting dim spotlights, unlike planes or helicopters, silent at 4,500 feet. Thinking it fatigue, she watched between branches as the sky flashed red, then black, all light vanishing. Shaken, she survived to share this eerie tale. Connect and explore. Check out my book, Tales of the Unknown, on Amazon for Folklore, with eerie illustrations. Debate: Appalachian vs. Appalachian. Enjoy 4 hours of stories. Free your schedule to follow Mysteries Unveiled on Spotify or Apple, rating it. Submit unexplained tales at darktales.net. Upcoming: hunting and mountain creature stories. Thanks. Shadows of the Appalachians, Unsettling Encounters. This collection offers 4 hours of eerie tales from the Appalachian region, sparking debate over its name, Appalachian or Appalachian. Explore the unknown with me. Check out Myths and Mysteries on Amazon for folklore with haunting illustrations. Free up time to follow Hidden Tales on Spotify or Apple, rating it. Share your unexplained stories at shadowtales.org. Upcoming: Wilderness and Creature Tales. Thanks. A Skyward Omen. The forest fell silent, heightening my unease. I tried texting my father, typing, "Dad, love you," something odd with the sky. A sense of intrusion gripped me. I'd overstayed, but this hostility was new. My messages, caught in a signal loop of no service to LTE, delayed until hours later. 5 minutes on, the sky flared red, then normalized. But half the stars were gone, not shifted by Earth's rotation, just absent while Venus remained. Swiveling lights blinked where they'd been. Unsettled, I set up my tarp and slept with pepper spray handy, mind racing. Weeks prior, driving home, I'd seen a stationary light warp away, like a sci-fi ship vanishing, no colors, just white. The next morning, I hiked down with G's group, keeping silent until home, where I posted on a trail group, Women of the Wild Paths. A reply came. A local near Priest Mountain recalled a red light shooting skyward during a bonfire, feeling the same dread, intoxicated or not. The parallel spooked her. I share this for hikers' safety, not fame. Others report stranger sightings. Speak up, especially near Alto Wintergreen Resort. Something's amiss above these trails. A brother's bravery. From Paul. Before my brother's heroism, he was a reserved ex-Marine, a finance whiz, whiskey lover, and tough guy with a cane. I gauged suitors by their fear, meeting him only one passed. His instinct for my well-being was rare among siblings. Recently deceased, I honor him with this. We loved camping, and despite our 10-year age gap, he taught me much. One day we tackled a 12-mile Appalachian stretch near our New York home, restricted due to weather, but he indulged 12-year-old me. We laughed, and he sorted my worries with ease until his hand tugged my pack, silent. Following his gaze, I whispered, "Is that?" He hushed. "No," as a dark figure turned. "Stay behind me," he ordered, unsheathing his hunting knife, stance firm. It loomed, not a bear, massive, broad-shouldered, with jagged teeth and dead eyes. He roared, intimidating it, then instructed me to run to the truck, grab his keys, honk, and not look back. Cursing a first, I obeyed. As it neared, he lunged. I ran, honking, alerting families and rangers. At the hospital, he was battered IVs, gashes, one eye swollen. He winked, muttering "bear" to officials. The scene was chaotic, but no creature remained. He saved me. It lurks still. A farmer's nightmare. In a cold October in North Carolina's Appalachians, frost coated the leaves as I camped, annoyed by a tent tear. I braved the chill to track a predator terrorizing my sheep and cows, my pride for 2 years. Since animals vanished, leaving odd tracks, human-like yet longer, wider, with extra digits. Night fell. I slept uneasily. A dragging sound awoke me. Gripping a stick, I peeked through the tear, hit by a rancid rot stench. A tall, bony shadow loomed. Paralyzed, I waited it out, sleeping once it passed. Dawn revealed dragged dirt and red fluid, another sheep lost. Furious, I followed to a cave of pine straw, but retreated, needing better defense. Silence fell, predator near. A twig snapped, I froze. The creature stood before me, gray, lifeless skin, dagger teeth, hands to its knees, a nightmare incarnate. Its stench nearly made me retch. Grabbing a stick, I blacked out. Waking in the cave, surrounded by bones, I panicked, legs numb. Gurgling approached. It smiled, spoke, like me, and bit my arm, painful but not breaking skin. It retreated deeper as I fled, woozy to call 911. Hospitalized for dehydration, its words haunt me. Attacks ceased, but I dread its return. A lightning figure. From Fambruti. At 13, I rode with my grandma in her green Chevy sedan to fetch Aunt Clara from her farm off White County, Virginia, past the future Walmart site. It was a rainy, thundery evening weather I loved. On the muddy path, we waited in the car. Bored, I gazed out, processing my other grandma's recent passing. Thunder intensified. Grandma soothed me. Then, on the hilltop, a midnight blue shifted to navy. I screamed. She saw nothing, calming me as Aunt Clara, frail with an umbrella, joined us. We waited out the rain. Lightning flared again. Grandma gasped. A greenish-blue ball pulsed into a tense, faceless figure. We prayed. It vanished. Driving off, Aunt Clara gasped. It paced us on the ridge. Grandma sped, but a tree fell. She yelled, "Leave us!" Silence fell. Figure gone. A passerby helped clear it. We drove home, restless. My parents, tired from a reunion, dismissed the tale. I avoid that cove, mindful of weather and surroundings. Some mysteries are best untouched. A werewolf encounter, anonymous. Living in rural forests, I won't name myself. This spans 2 spots, 5 to 10 miles apart, with 2 friends. At their remote farmstead near the Appalachians, a night hangout turned eerie. Knocks escalated to bangs. My friend slept, but I peered out a high window. A massive creature, long-eared, ragged, human-like, glowed with yellow eyes. Paralyzed, I couldn't wake him. Ignoring it, I slept. Next morning, he doubted my tale but conceded. 2 years later, at their new home, he'd seen a dark beast. Under a full moon, a howl wolf and man spooked cows. Those eyes reappeared on a 7-foot hunched figure with jagged teeth and a canine head. We fled inside. It felt like a horror movie. A bear beast encounter. From Doug. In mid-April 2020, jobless, I camped with friends Ron and Jake on remote Appalachian state land in southwest Pennsylvania. Armed, we hiked deep, noting 7-foot tree scratches. After beers and stories, silence hit at 11 p.m. Waking to dread, Jake's screams and shots. Then a deep roar louder than a grizzly jolted us. He fled, pale, urging escape. A hulking 4-legged beast emerged, campfire light revealing its mass. Echoes of the unknown, Appalachian nightmares. A chilling collection of rewritten tales from the Appalachian region, crafted to respect copyright while delivering eerie experiences. Enjoy 4 hours of suspense and join the debate. Appalachian or Appalachian? Dive into Folklore Shadows on Amazon for creepy tales with stunning illustrations. Free your schedule to follow Mystic Echoes on Spotify or Apple, rate it, and share your strange encounters at Eerie Echoes. Net. Upcoming, forest mysteries and creature sightings. Thanks. A monstrous escape. The creature before us was no bear, a hulking, dark-furred beast, muscular, with glowing amber eyes and twisted horns atop its head, standing 9 feet tall on hind legs. It growled, baring jagged teeth. Ron's rapid gunfire broke our terror. Jake and I joined, unloading bullets. The beast roared in agony, collapsing onto its belly, alive but stunned. We sprinted through the dark Appalachian forest, branches snapping behind us as it pursued. Miraculously, we reached my SUV, scrambling in as I floored it, the creature lunging. Miles later, I pulled over, vomiting from fear and exhaustion. Silence gripped our ride home. Next day, Jake explained he'd left to relieve himself, heard crashing, and faced the beast prompting his screams and shots. We never returned, our gear likely shredded. Beware the Appalachians at night, unknown horrors lurk. A trail of silence. From Anonymous. I recount this exactly as it happened, unchanged. Along the Appalachian Trail, names and specifics altered for privacy. Writing this helps my lingering PTSD. The memory haunts me daily. Raised in a church-going family, I met genuine, kind folks feeding the poor, living their faith. But at 13, we switched to a more fervent church during the 1980s Satanic Panic, where everything from music to toys was deemed evil. I burned my rock albums, a phase I now laugh at, knowing some Christian bands were frauds. This era drew odd characters claiming discernment, accusing me of sinful tendencies for liking long-haired men illogical, as I'm a woman. TV preachers and joyless church women, obsessed with spotting Satan, made me anxious, their judgmental glares replacing the warmth of my childhood Sunday school. A church of fear. This church attracted unsettling types, drug addicts, alcoholics, and predatory men who insisted on hugs despite complaints, a practice the preacher encouraged. I grew to loathe touch outside family, avoiding these huggers and women giving endless testimonies, dreading Sundays. At 17, I met Clara, a woman whose presence screamed wrongness, a buried instinct I ignored, taught to accept all as sinners. Within weeks, she infiltrated the church, singing solos, teaching classes, and joining satanic panic rants. Claiming recovery from anorexia, she looked skeletal, her soprano solos echoing a twisted Karen Carpenter fantasy, unsettling, not uplifting. I avoided her, but after my solo one Sunday, she approached, hugged me, and publicly critiqued my diction, humiliating me. I never sang there again. A retreat gone wrong. Clara joined our youth retreat as a counselor my third, after past mishaps like a broken leg and a drunk camper's fatal fall. At 17, under my parents' rules, I went despite dread, wishing I'd stayed with my accepting pothead school friends. I brought my Super 8 camera, hoping to film nature as a distraction. Memories of fragmented trauma blocks, clarity. I don't recall Clara arriving, just her sudden presence on the second night. We stopped at a flea market en route. I filmed faded scenery, Clara absent. That evening, we made lavender posies in a craft hall, now a scent I despise. Later, in a field by a barn-like stage, Clara sang a soprano piece via boombox. Oddly, in August, no bugs bit us during the hour-long bonfire, roasting hot dogs. A night of terror. In the cabin, I took a front bunk. Clara nearby, others claimed back bunks. Trapped 100 miles from home, no cell phones, I stayed. The mattress folded around me like a bun, a small comfort. Despite August heat, I wasn't hot, and silence reigned, no bugs, animals, or distant sounds. An eerie omen, deep asleep, glass shattered, followed by a piercing scream. I thought boys pranked us, but the window was intact. Clara shrieked, "Did you hear that demon leave my mouth?" Rocking wildly. Another counselor consoled her with scripture, flashlight on. No girls stirred, snoring, as if drugged. I froze, survival instinct screaming despite no sleep paralysis. The counselor glanced my way. I shut my eyes, playing dead, desperate to flee but rooted. A haunting presence. The counselor retreated to the bathroom, leaving me with Clara and sleeping girls. Clara turned, her face lit by flashlight etched with anger, fear, sadness, eyes sunken, hair veiling her. She stared at me, speaking gibberish in a deep baritone, not her soprano. I shut my eyes, heart pounding. She didn't approach, returning to mutter. The counselor returned. Clara asked if she was okay, voice normal. No prank explains the glass sound or voice shift, maybe mental illness. But the window haunts me. I found no shards next morning. The lavender stench turned sickening, tied to terror. I stayed awake until dawn, watching Clara, girls unmoving. Exhausted, I skipped breakfast, avoiding Clara, and rode home with an older cook, Edward, in his old truck. Tales of the Uncanny, Appalachian Shadows. A curated set of eerie encounters from the Appalachian region, reimagined to ensure originality while preserving the chilling essence. Immerse yourself in 4 hours of suspense and join the debate. Appalachian or Appalachian? Explore dark legends unveiled on Amazon for haunting stories with vivid illustrations. Make time to follow Eerie Whispers on Spotify or Apple. Rate it and submit your own strange tales at uncannywhispers.net. Upcoming, tales of wilderness enigmas and shadowy creatures. Thank you. A haunting departure. I climbed into Edward's weathered truck alongside my brother, leaving the retreat behind without a backward glance. I've never returned. On the 2-lane road toward the highway, about 5 miles out, the sun broke through, its warmth a stark contrast to the chill I'd felt. I began to sweat, craving the heat after the unnatural cold of the night. Edward, a gentle, soft-spoken man, drove us home, his calm voice discussing mundane things a soothing balm. I was grateful we chose him. Back home, life resumed, school started, and I relished the normalcy of classrooms. Somehow, a dried lavender posy had slipped into my bag. I tossed it immediately, its scent now unbearable. My brother and the other kids never mentioned the incident, seemingly unaware, having slept through it. Years later, we've never discussed that retreat. I stayed silent. The dread I felt was not tied to the Appalachian Trail itself, but to Clara S.'s arrival that evening. My initial unease had faded while filming, but returned at the bonfire. Clara eventually left the church, likely unsettling another congregation. I attended less, clashing with my mother over it. My issue wasn't faith, but fear of certain people, though I couldn't explain. By 18, I went rarely, arriving late, leaving early, avoiding lingering oddities. Why was I the only one awake that night? That question terrifies me, and I dread its answer. 3 years later, at a grocery store, I spotted Clara entering while chatting with a friend. I ducked behind the magazine rack, dizzy with nausea. My friend, concerned, confirmed Clara was at the back. I rushed through checkout, the cashier sensing my panic, and fled after confiding in my friend about the retreat. I've avoided that area since. Clara might be gone now, she was in her late 40s then, but I'm cautious. My advice: don't assume churchgoers are safe. Parents, vet camp counselors, thoroughly faith doesn't guarantee sanity. If your child feels uneasy, listen. Their instincts may sense danger. I steer clear of the occult, but evil isn't in music or games. It can sit beside you in church, seeking a hug. A runner's instinct from a Reddit user, name withheld. In high school, I ran track and played basketball, keeping my cardio up on an 11-kilometer trail near my small, safe town where everyone knew each other. Not remote, passing a dog park, train tracks, and a highway stretch, but parts were deep woods. A 4-kilometer loop was popular, but I preferred the longer, quieter trail. For 3 years, nothing odd happened until one afternoon. I parked on a dirt road off the highway, prepped my music, and started running with just my phone, earphones, and car key. No one else was around, typical for afternoons. The trail turned rugged dirt, mud, tree roots demanding focus. Halfway, in the remotest part forested, hilly, with boulders, a sudden dread hit me. I kept running, but on a flatter stretch, I removed my earphones. The silence was unnerving, no birds, no insects. Likely a predator, I thought maybe a coyote, though bears were rare. I slowed to a walk, navigating steep rocks, feeling watched. Memory blurs here, like recalling a dream, but I saw a figure in the trees, a man, not an animal, at my 2-eyed girl. Instinctively, I pretended not to notice, sensing he shouldn't know I saw him. He stood still, watching as I passed. Around a turn, 15 feet ahead, I sprinted, adrenaline fueling a speed I'd never reached, knees weak, but driven by primal fear. I felt pursuit, expecting hands to grab me, but heard no steps. I didn't stop until I saw my car, clear of the woods. Looking back, no one was there. The dread faded minutes later, but I knew I couldn't stop running. Maybe someone targeted me, a lone 5-foot blonde girl, or I interrupted something sinister. I switched trails after a few more runs, the unease lingering. I've since moved, and nothing similar has happened. But I wonder, what if I'd kept running there? Has anyone else felt this dread in the woods, sensing unseen eyes? A Writer's Dread from B. Morrison. As a creative writer in school, I loved solo walks in the woods with a pencil and notebook, often listening to eerie Silent Hill or Parasite Eve soundtracks, never feeling afraid. Now, my attention span hinders writing, but one experience left me dreading the woods alone. I still hike, but the peace is gone. Working at a call center with weekends off, single with few friends, I often hiked the Appalachian Trail, a 2-hour drive away, finding the journey relaxing. Solo hiking isn't for beginners. Weather can turn, animals can pose risks, and isolation can be dangerous. Once I sprained my ankle miles deep, limping back alone. On a cloudy Saturday, I planned a one-night camping trip, needing to return for my sister's baby shower. The hike was pleasant, the air perfect. Under a poplar tree, I ate a protein bar and sipped water, musing about trees and an upcoming meeting. Then 20 yards away, atop a dead tree, I saw a small human figure coat, pants, shoes, hair. Panicked, I ran over, fearing a child was stuck, unmoving except for wind-blown clothes. I shouted, "Are you okay?" No response. I'd left my phone in the car, a habit on short hikes. I climbed the tree, not brittle, with well-placed branches, though I hadn't climbed since childhood. Exhausted, I reached the figure. Touching a shoe, it fell, empty. The clothes were hollow, the hair real, long, with scalp flakes, as if torn from a girl's head. Nausea rose. Then, below, slow footsteps and a whisper, "Come down," feminine, elderly, impossibly close. It repeated, unchanging. I clung to the tree, muscles trembling, unable to rest on thin branches. After 10 minutes, I descended, the voice persisting, but no one was below. I jumped, knees aching, and ran down the trail, passing a confused hiker, back to my car. I called the rangers, reporting the clothes. I felt baited, trapped, yet allowed to leave. The malevolence haunts me. I avoid the Appalachian Trail now. A family's curse. From Eggie. My family, rooted in West Virginia's Appalachian Belt for generations, has 7 acres on a mountain where we roamed as kids. Now, as adults, bonfire nights turn sinister, the air grows heavy, and my grandmother's dogs won't leave the porch. Something lurks in the woods, revealing itself over decades. My aunts, mother, and uncles roamed as kids, drawn to a spring house, a concrete structure with a spring, once used before the farmhouse had running water, now overtaken by woods. Its only entry was a top hole. In daylight, Aunt N dropped in, hearing soft breathing. In a corner, a white humanoid creature with elongated limbs and dark, hollow facial features stared back. She screamed for Aunt B to pull her up, losing her glasses in the water as the creature moved. Uncle K yanked her out. They fled, never returning. She may not have told my religious grandmother, who dismisses the paranormal. Years later, my cousins and sisters, hearing the tale but skeptical, explored the spring house. My cousin dropped in. My sister watched. Heavy breathing preceded the same creature beside N's eroded glasses. It lunged. They escaped, warned by our mothers to stay away. As a child, I roamed alone with the farm dog, collecting treasures. During a family gathering, playing cops and robbers, hide and seek with teams, I hid by an old car near the barn, on the property line by an empty mobile home. Hearing a distorted whistle, I turned to see the white creature, 7 feet tall, squatting by a tree. I ran, colliding with Cousin Jay. We quit, retreating inside. Months later, Jay hid behind the barn miles of dark woods beyond. Under a full moon, she saw a man in a red sweater on a white lawn chair, staring into the woods, his skin glowing white. He didn't move as she passed. She ran, meeting me. We investigated. The chair was empty. Then, a whisper of my name from the barn sent us fleeing, sleeping crammed against Grandma. The next night, in the spare bedroom, the dog growled at our late great-grandmother's room. We locked ourselves in with him. Aunt B later shared her own terror. After a werewolf movie, a creature sat on her bed, watching her until dawn. Skinwalkers, perhaps, mimic fears. I slept downstairs on the couch, TV on to mask noises, as Grandma kept doors open. At 3 a.m., a shadow blocked the TV, moving to the kitchen lights and faucet turning on. Grandma never heard. The dog perked up. My great-grandmother, who died, used to sit in the kitchen at 3 a.m. playing cards, claiming to talk to her late husband. In a dream, she descended the stairs in white, but her voice, deep harsh, said, "You're all going to hell. This is hell. All the demons are here." I woke, gasping, and soon left. Now my aunt, living with Grandma, reports dogs refusing to go out, odd screeches silencing crickets, and her name screamed from the woods. A neighbor heard it too, retreating in fear. We found a baby raccoon, twisted unnaturally, legs reversed. Along the tree line later, more animals similarly twisted. We avoid the woods at night, sharing these tales, lights, screams, and an ancient evil stalking us, perhaps forever. A shuttle driver's mystery from Tofu Joe. During the 2020 pandemic, I worked as a shuttle driver and hostel manager in Glasgow, Virginia, serving Appalachian trail hikers in the Blue Ridge Mountains while attending online grad school. One Tuesday, I started chores, cleaning sheets, checking inventory, inspecting shuttles. Charlie, our dispatcher, called, assigning a pickup at Humpback Trailhead at 11:45. I left at 9 while, passing hikers nicknamed Hats Off, Rescue, Pilgrim, Mischief, and Six String lounging by the campfire pit. They used trail names, often ironic. I drove to the trailhead, arriving early. With no cell service, I waited. A hiker with a bright green cap appeared, limping across the parking lot. I confirmed he was $5 Chuck, helped load his pack, and drove back. Unlike chatty hikers, he was quiet. He'd injured his leg after a pickup truck hit him crossing the Blue Ridge Parkway, post-hospital. We arrived at 2:08. I rushed to a 2:0 class, leaving Chuck to settle. After class, I couldn't find him, no trace in bunk rooms, showers, or outside. Hats Off claimed I hadn't dropped anyone off. Thinking they were pranking, I searched the shuttle empty, except for a crumpled $5 bill. His gear was gone. I assumed he'd skipped payment. In 2022, leading a trail maintenance crew in Shenandoah National Park, I visited a hostel, flipping through their logbook. I found Hats Off and others' signatures from October 2020, then $5 Chucks from September. The manager recalled him staying 3 nights, leaving a strange impression, but the story cut off, leaving his fate a mystery.